What up, what up, what up, what up? It's me, L Teddy 27.
What's good? It's night right about the hood.
Oh, dear God, I'm already eating and drinking.
Look, a damn mess. Just a damn mess. No means no, and yes means no.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's good, people? What is up? What is up? What is up? It's me, L Teddy 27, and I am back for yet another review. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be our review for Pose Season 3. This is Episode 6. It is entitled Something Old, Something New. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not the face of contentment. You won't get no touchy-feely review. You won't get no happy, joy review. Nope. This won't take long. Because these hoes pissed me off with this episode. Not here for it. Not here for this episode. What am I snacking on? Cut watermelon, lightly sprinkled with salt. Because I'm ghetto. Real ghetto. And in the ghetto, you sprinkle salt on your watermelon. And it got to be cold, right out of the refrigerator. Anyway, we start off. Pray tell at the doctor's office. He's losing vision in one of his eyes, and he has like a film or something over one of his eyes. Doctor tells him he has some kind of infection, which is marking the beginning of the end. So apparently, it's been several months or whatnot since he was supposed to have died, and he's still living, but it's going down. He's about to die. The doctor said, "Listen, go ahead, make your peace, make your bed, because you're about to lie in it for eternity." Anyway, and so he knows that's it. Blanca comes over to his house, and he done threw down in the kitchen and everything, and he done made her a dress and everything, and she was like, what? He's wearing these shades or whatever. He takes off the shades. She sees his eyes and says, oh my God, and he tells her, listen, it's happening. I'm checking out. I don't have that much longer to go. He tells her about this dream he always had of starting his own fashion line or whatnot. And then he tells her that he wants her to make make a portion that they will add to the AIDS quilt for him. Now, I really forgot that was a really big thing back in the 80s and 90s. The huge AIDS quilt, and it would go to different cities and stuff, and they would stretch it out, and it got to be like if I'm not mistaken, hundreds of yards long, because people would make sections of the quilt to be added to the quilt to memorialize and to remember people who had died of AIDS. And I remember now, but I had forgotten about the AIDS quilt. I'm sure it's probably still around, but it isn't as notable as it was back then, because AIDS now isn't HIV isn't the death sentence that it once was. And so it just really brought it back to that time when that was a really, really, really big thing. For those youngsters, y'all maybe weren't around or was too young to remember, but it was a really big thing back then, because that was, that we were losing a lot of people, and that was, one of the ways to memorialize people. A lot of them were a part of the Rainbow Coalition, and meaning they may not have had children, biological children, and may have been disowned by their own biological families. So this was a way to memorialize and have them remembered. And that was something that Pray Tell harped on with Blanca. He wanted something to be remembered by. And she was like, oh, you are ballroom. And you know how these things go. I understood what Pray Tell was saying. You know how these things go. Out with the old, in with the new. We don't know, the young kids can't remember 2 weeks ago, much less legends in, the field. So that's what they talked about. Then we see Poppy cooking at home with his son. This was real cute. Ricky comes over and to help babysit, and we find out that he's going to be going back on tour with Janet in a little bit, and he moved in with Blanca, and then he fills Poppy in on what's been going on with Angel, and because Angel's been staying with Blanca, and how Angel's been having these doubts and so forth and so on, and and all of that. And so I love the part when Poppy left. Ricky did what a real uncle do. You know what real uncles do? Like this one right here. When your daddy leave, you let your nieces and nephew do any and everything their mom and daddy won't let them do. Your daddy won't let you do what? We finna go do that. That's what real uncles do. You let your nieces and nephews do whatever they want, break all the rules. I was here for it. I'm that kind of uncle. Anyway, at Blanca's house, Angel's still having her doubts, and we found out that she was thinking about calling her dad, to ask him to walk her down the aisle, but since she's having doubts, she doesn't want to do that. And Blanca finds out that Angel's been communicating with her dad, has never stopped, I should say, communicating with her dad, and she gives her dad money, every so many weeks or so, and helps him out because that's still her father. And so then we see Angel goes to go see her dad, and her dad wasn't as bad as I envisioned him being. Like he still, had his, you know, um, discomfort with the whole situation. But he was coming along in his own way. Um, I, when this part came up, it reminded me that sometimes those of us in the coalition, the Rainbow Coalition, the letter people, sometimes we forget that us accepting ourselves a lot of times, and a lot of us, it took us a while to even accept ourselves or come to grips or grapple with ourselves and realizing who and what we were and coming to terms with that. And then once we do that, there's this expectation that boom, everybody around you is just going to accept it and love it and everything. And that's just not fair. That's just really not fair to have that level of expectation because a lot of times we didn't become, I'm not going to say every time, but a lot of times we weren't, instantaneously accepting of our own selves or knew everything that we were or had going on. And so I think it's kind of selfish for you to just expect everybody else around you to flip a light switch and immediately just accept any and everything about you because it takes time. And I could see where her dad was making attempts, but perhaps it wasn't happening at the rate or at the level that Angel wanted. And she just wasn't accepting of that. And she talked about how, she had been paying her dad to love her all of these years, but had a man that was willing to love her pure and authentically this whole time. And it kind of reminded her that, yes, she did want to marry Poppy. So then we see her go over to Poppy's house and eavesdrops on on Poppy talking to his son, and it was a real cute conversation where he's giving his son life lessons about how it's okay to cry and men cry and don't and so forth. And he was first talking to him about being a New Yorker and being able to pick whichever team is winning, like the Mets or the Yankees or and things like that. How most New York sports have multiple teams. Anyway, and she eventually steps in and apologizes to him and so forth. Um, it was what it was. So then we see Angel having nightmares about getting married. This is where it goes downhill for me, y'all. So she's having nightmares about getting married. Everything, first of all, everything just started to go so fast. It was like bam, 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 bam. It was just so fast and so rushed, and it was just too fast and too rushed for me with everything. They was just force feeding stuff down our throats at this point, just force feeding stuff down our throats. Um, Angel started having nightmares about not being able to get a marriage license. She then goes and talks to the girls, Electra, Lulu, and Blanca, and at first Electra said, "Oh, I can get you a fake ID," and then Blanca was like, "No, it's gonna be fraud or whatever. You can't do that. That'll be fraud. You got to go with your real ID, this, that, and the third, your passport, because she had the passport, not a driver's license." And so then Blanca was like, "Well, just go down there and you just gonna have to go down there as yourself, and they'll accept you. Accept you where? Not down to Miss Courthouse or City Hall. Not in 1994. No, ma'am. That was the dumbest thing they've said in the entirety of this series. The dumbest idea that they've had the entirety of this series was telling her and trying to make her to believe that that would have been a real conversation in 1994, 95. Oh, just show up down there and they're going to have to accept you because of who you are, because you walk in there, you angel, evangelista. Because somehow they're going to let them get, they would overlook the fact that she's legally still a man. And there's no such marriage in the great state of New York at that time between a man and a man. This is where y'all lost me. Poppy goes, Poppy's at home with his son, with Angel, and he has to go run some errands and pick out his what he's gonna wear, whatever. leaves Angel with his son, and Angel is a disaster with the young man. I mean, she'll know what to do. She'll know how to handle them. He throwing, toys and shit all over the place and everywhere, just running rampant. And so, just being a child, a child, you got to take control of a child. I don't understand how adults let children control them and they can't control a child. But that's beyond my level of comprehension. She called Blanca over. Blanca came over and bought this Power Ranger outfit. Now you gonna tell me, Blanca, you just go buy him the outfit and tell him to put it on, but you're not gonna tell him to pick up all these goddamn toys that he got thrown all over the place. See, what was supposed to happen was you were supposed to have the little costume because he said he loved Power Rangers. His favorite Power Ranger was the Black Ranger. Y'all remember the Black Ranger only had 4 fingers on one hand? Remember the Black boy Zach with the hot face? Only had 4 fingers on one hand. Go back and look. Anyway, I remember we first found out. Some boy at school told us, and we were blown away. We were like, oh. Anyway, you were supposed to hold that costume and say, "Boo boo, pick up all these toys, and when you pick up these toys, you can get this good Power Ranger costume." That's how that was supposed to go. But whatever, honey. Y'all had already lost me at this point. I was done. We then see Lulu magically has a new apartment because Electra done bought her a new apartment. We know, and she's staying with Jerome. Magically now she's off drugs. Like, how did that happen? Like, we just gonna fast forward to now she off drugs and been off drugs for a while. It was just happening too fast, and they're just force feeding down our throat. And there's this moment where Jerome comes over because he's staying with her, and she's like, "Oh, you got to stop using drugs, or you can't be with me." And he was like, "I ain't gonna stop using drugs." She kick him out and make him give her the keys. It was stupid. It was just really stupid and corny at this point. So then, for the biggest sack of shit, the entirety of the episode, they go down here to the city hall, get in front of the lady, give the passport and Angel's driver's license and Angel's passport and Poppy's driver's license. Clearly, the passport said male. Magically, the lady gonna let them get the marriage license and say, "Oh, just sign here," because Poppy was talking all to her about being from the Dominican Republic like he was. Where they do that shit at? Because last time I checked, when you get important legal documents like that, they're going to take a picture of your identification. They're going to take all of the necessary copies of, not a picture, but a copy of all of the necessary documents so that can all go on the file so that they can, legitimize this legally binding document. What the fuck happens if y'all want to get a divorce in the next year or so and that shit goes to a judge? And now the judge is going to see how the fuck y'all let two men get married? That's not even legal. Make this shit make sense. You know the level of fraud that's taking place here? You think this woman that ain't never met y'all a day of her life is going to lose her good government job? All on the strength of the fact that you from the Dominican Republic and she from the Dominican Republic, and you, I guess, bamboozled her or confused her or talked to her enough and distracted her into letting y'all get married. The bullshit. What is this bullshit? Pose, y'all are better than this. Writers in the writing room, y'all are better than this. This is fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Y'all are better than this. Listen, at that point, they walk out with their marriage license in hand. She all happy and he all happy. You could even hear her because there wasn't even that many people in the room. So their voices were echoing all over the wall. And she was like, "Oh, I can't believe we got a marriage license. I can't believe we got a marriage license." Basically letting everybody know that the shit was a fraud as you're leaving. The bullshit. The bullshit. This is bullshit. They wouldn't have even gone down there to the city hall to begin with, talking about getting a marriage license, much less go down there and have one given to them. A damn copy of an ID taken. A damn verification of none of the other stuff that you need in order. Ain't nothing getting notarized. Ain't nothing getting stamped. Ain't nothing. The bullshit. The bullshit. Girl, I can't. Girl, I can't. They lost me for the rest of the episode. Okay, I wasn't even here for all the little touchy-feely moments they wanted to have after that. Right over my ear. I wasn't here for them. At this point, I had turned them off. I almost wanted to turn off the television, but I let it play. But they had lost me. They've lost me for the rest of the episode. Pray tell Blanca goes to pray. Next we see Blanca and pray tell how she show her little design for the AIDS quilt or whatever. I ain't even care no more. Whatever, girl. We get to the wedding day. Poppy had the guys. He's writing his wedding vows. He does this little touchy, little feely, cheesy ass You know, I love y'all. Y'all make me feel like a man. I know y'all gay people think I didn't give a shit. He does this whole toast thing, and oh, I forgot. The guys finally saw Pray Tell's eye, and they knew it was something wrong. And he, like I told you, I ain't even care at this point. He tell them I'm gonna need somebody to help me down the aisle. I ain't really care because last time I checked, even if this was a real marriage, last time I checked, I don't remember Pray Tell being a justice of the peace or a licensed minister with which to have powers vested in him to, you know, announce anybody, anything. When did that happen? Because you got to have licenses and documentation in order to do that. Girl, the bullshit. The fucking bullshit. Poppy did this toast. Cubby came. I guess that was supposed to be all sentimental because dead ass Cubby done came and did a toast with them. Girl, I was over it at that point. I was way over it. They was trying to get a cry out of the people. If they was trying to make me cry, it wasn't going to happen because of the bullshit that we just experienced down there to the city hall. Fucking bullshit. The entirety of the episode was ruined, in the immortal words of Stewie Griffin. Ruined for me. Ruined. Then we saw the ladies giving Angel her gifts or whatever. Something old, something new, some borrowed, some blue. I didn't give a shit. Candy shows up because we supposed to be crying and sentimental. I didn't give a fuck anymore because the shit was ruined. I didn't care. You had the wedding. It was all of the girls came in their little wedding gowns and all of this shit. All of this, that, and the third. Poppy ends up singing I Swear. Love this song. Hated Poppy singing because Poppy can't sing worth a damn. Now, Dylan Burnside, Ricky, the character who plays Ricky, actually can sing. He's a Broadway girl. He can sing. Mama can sing. He was backing her up, but it could not overshadow the fact that Poppy can't sing at all. This shit was horrible. Then they, drive off on a honeymoon. Electra done bought him a car because Electra just sprinkling out thousands and thousands of dollars here and there all over the place. All of the things that Electra done given out has to equate to millions of dollars at this point. And she just, she's just giving out millions of dollars at the drop of a dime. And no one is checking for this black trans woman in 1994 just giving out money all over the place. Girl. Then they go on this honeymoon. I don't even know. They probably said what they went. I didn't give a shit at that point. They on the beach, probably talking to some other white man. Oh, I'm here with my wife and my son. Girl, and it went on from there. End this shit now. At this point, I don't give a shit anymore. End it. Take it out back, shoot the shit in the head, and end this shit. And it's so sad to see what was a phenomenal show and a great show go down in a blaze of glory like this. This is horrible. This is god awfully horrible. This is horrible. I'm so disappointed in production, so disappointed in those people in the writing room, so disappointed in everybody involved with what has happened to this show. This is awful. This is probably why Janet Mock went the hell off. And now at this point, I don't blame her. This is some fuck shit. The bullshit. I'm done, y'all. I don't have nothing else to give. I'm done. Until next time. Look, I'll be back next week to put this shit out of this misery. That's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.